So hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is Saujest from SV3 in 1. So today we're gonna do a full roundup of the events of the rocket significant events that happened in 2021. We're gonna go through each rocket and we'll also discuss what to expect in 2022. This will be of course my last video of 2021. So let's get into the video. And now, as I just heard, we did launch the James Webb Space Telescope. It's been 4 days since the launch, and it's just amazing. So after so many days, it finally happened. Okay, now let's get into our first rocket. Is the Falcon 9. The Falcon 9 is by far the most ambitious vehicle ever because this is what it did. In 2020, these are the events. Okay, so yeah, it hit a total of 50 recoveries in 20 in the CRS 20 launch of CRS 20 launch of CRS 20 in 2020 2020 before it hit 100 recoveries this year for the CRS 24 mission. Now this also was coincidentally this also was the sixth anniversary of its first booster landing, which happened back in 2015. 2015. In 2021, we also saw the launch of Crew 2 and Crew 3 by I think so yeah, and also it happened the fastest turnaround time because on 18th December they launched the Starlink mission, and on 19th December they launched the Tugsat 5B mission. The previous record time was 44 hours and 17 minutes, which was also set this year back in September. Now this time between 18th December and 19th December we saw it launching in just 15 hours and 17 minutes. So which is really amazing, right? So yeah, but 2022 is going to be a more eventful year for Falcon 9 as we expect up to 60 launches. 60 launches on Florida alone. Now imagine the launches compared with Vandenberg. So this time we did 31, this is amazing. The first mission is expected to be the Transporter 3 mission on 13th January 2022. We also expect other major events like the launch of Axiom 1, because which will be the first fully private flight to the ISS. Now, I do understand that the first private flight already happened in September, but with Inspiration 4, but it actually didn't. So that is another achievement which I actually forgot. And so, but the difference is it actually didn't dock to the ISS because this thing is gonna literally dock to the ISS, which will be something else altogether. Now, now, other than that, we do not expect another thing like we'll have the launch of Crew 4, Crew 5, and maybe even Crew 6. We also expect to see Psiche. Now, Psiche is another is a dic- is actually a will launch with Janus. So these two are interplanetary satellites. Although this year we had another interplanetary launch of DART in XP. The DART was to hit an asteroid and it would divert itself. Like literally, it would change the orbit of an asteroid, which is really crazy, right? Now, so this is what we expect from Falcon 9 in 2022 and what we already saw in 2021. Now proceeding from 2022, we will expect to see a lot more. As you can see, there are a lot of land launches in 2023. The CRS 27, the CRS 28, the Blue Ghost Lunar Lander, Transporter 9, and everything is there. So yeah, this is what the plan is for 2023. Now there have been several launches planned for beyond 2020, for even 2024 and beyond. So hopefully this is what we see for 2021. The next is the Falcon Heavy. Now there wasn't really anything from Falcon Heavy this year because that's what will happen. Now why? Because it actually made its last flight in June 2019. It has been over 2.5 years since the world's most powerful rocket, the Falcon Heavy, actually took off. Now both of these are two-stage rockets, so yeah, they are like medium lift launch vehicle. The Falcon Heavy is a medium lift launch vehicle means it can lift a considerable amount of payload, but the Falcon Heavy is a heavy lift launch vehicle, which which could mean it could lift really heavy payloads into space. So yeah, but Falcon Heavy hasn't since launched. But we have five launches expected to see in 2022. So yeah, hopefully we will see if a Falcon Heavy launch finally. And our next is, of course, the beast of all time. Of course, I'm talking about Starship. Okay, let's search. Let's go. So Starship. Now this year, we did see an amazing. We did see an amazing. Yeah, we did see an amazing fleet of prototypes make high altitude test flights. The first of them was SN9, followed by SN10, SN11, and SN15. Even though SN, even though the first three couldn't failed on the landing, SN15 did successfully land in May 2020. And now, believe me or not, but SpaceX is literally constructing a launch pad at Kennedy Space, and now it's at Boca Chica, and the is now considering at Cape Canaveral, called Launch Complex 49. Yeah, this is kind of like interesting. So as of now, the new Starship is expected to take flight in March 2022. It keeps getting delayed, but yeah, it will, since there are a lot of testing coming to, yeah. After that, we have several landings until the we have until 2026, when will be the first crewed flight to Mars, but we really don't know when this will happen as of now. Now that's what we expect. We did see from SpaceX this year. Now continuing on to Blue Origin. Okay, just a moment. Blue Origin with the New Shepard rocket did have a lot of action. We did see a lot of action with that thing. So yeah. New Shepard was expected to launch cruise, and it did launch cruise. So yeah, here's the New Shepard rocket. Just a moment. It did not launch one, but a total of three crews lifted off to space on board this thing. And CEO Jeff Bezos himself undertook undertook the first flight on board this thing. But New Shepard is not an orbital rocket. We're simply discussing it because we have to include this for Blue Origin. And believe me or not, New Shepard is actually just a suborbital vehicle, but it was the first to take passengers into space. Now we expect to see a lot more flights coming up in 2022. As now, nothing special. There's nothing special about it since this thing has been always launching payloads, and even crew has now become a routine. So yeah, we expect this. I think we expect this routine to continue in 2022. And now the next rocket, and now here comes the beast of all times, New Glenn. Now, if you see Goddard, there was the world's first prototype rocket called Goddard was actually launched into space. It was actually named after Robert Goddard, who launched the world's first liquid fuel rocket. Now, New Shepard is named after Alan Shepard, who is actually the yeah, who was actually the first American to go into space. New Glenn is named after John Glenn, who was the first American to go into orbit. So yeah, Alan Shepard just was suborbital. They're also planning a new rocket called New Armstrong, which is of course named after Neil Armstrong. Now, New Glenn was actually supposed to take flight in 2021. This two-stage beast was supposed to take flight. Now, this believe me or not, Blue Origin is literally going from New Shepard, which is just 17 meters, to this. So 17 meters, and it's a heavy lift launch. It's a heavy lift launch orbital vehicle. I think it's a medium lift, at least a medium or heavy lift. Euclid is a two-stage rocket. It's partially reusable, with the first stage being reusable, and the fairing I think is not reusable. I don't know much about the fairing, but the first stage is reusable and will land on a drone ship, like a barge in the ocean, just like SpaceX does now. So even though there were no orbital launches in 2021, we do expect to see the first orbital launch of New Glenn in the third quarter of 2022. So hopefully we will be seeing the launch of this New Glenn thing, because it's got delayed for so many years now by now. So actually planned three-stage version of New Glenn, but it actually never took going. Our next vehicle is the final member of the Atlas. Now, moving on to United Launch Alliance, or ULA, we have their Atlas 5. Now, it was a pretty eventful year, just like SpaceX and Blue Origin. ULA's Atlas 5 also had a pretty eventful year with the launch. There are two versions of the Atlas 5. The Atlas 5 here. If you can see here, the payload fairing is small, and here it suddenly gets big. Thing is, this is the 4-meter diameter payload fairing version and a 5-meter diameter payload fairing version. But actually, there are a total of 12 versions of this thing. The Atlas 5 boosters can range from all the way from 0 to 5. And there's also a special version called the Atlas 5 N22. N22. I'll come back to that in a moment. So yeah, the Atlas 5 had over 3 milestones this year. The first one was the launch of Landsat 9, which was launched on board the Atlas 5 401 version. Now the 401 stands for the 4-meter diameter payload fairing, 0 for 0 boosters, and 1 for the 1 Centaur engine. So the first one is the diameter of the first number is the diameter of the payload fairing, followed by the number of boosters, and finally the number of Centaur engines. So the 401 launched the Landsat 9 mission, which was a high resolution and the ninth satellite in the Landsat series. After that, it launched Lucy. Yeah, I've discussed that in my previous videos with Lucy being the first mission to visit the Trojan asteroids. Now, we also had the launch of STP-3 on board the 551 version, which is the most powerful version of the Atlas 5. Which it was the longest flight of any Atlas flight since the first launch of the Atlas family in 1957. A video is coming up on the evolution of Atlas vehicles and even the evolution of Delta vehicles. So stay tuned. For that one. Anyways, continuing on, the Atlas 5 has a now also we'll be talking about every rocket that we speak on, of course, right? So first, the Atlas 5 has two RD-180 engines on the first stage, and this is Centaur upper stage, which has been developing. Now, as I was talking about the N22 version, now if you were sitting was a letter, the N stands for no fairing. Now, since the Atlas, this N22 version will actually launch the Starliner, Boeing Starliner into space. It doesn't require fairing, just like SpaceX does with the Crew Dragon. So yeah, it's pretty clear. Now the 242 solid rocket boosters, and this is the only version of the Atlas 5 that has two Centaur engines. But as of now, it has launched only once with the Boeing OFT flight in 2019. But that partially failed as it failed to dock with the International Space Station. So the OFT-2 was expected to launch in 2021. They even got into the countdown and they were only an hour from the launch when there was a problem with the valve, which ended up causing the launch to be aborted. And we expect to take place now only in 2022. So they got really close. I would love to see that launch happening. Our next rocket is the Delta 4 Heavy, which there isn't much to discuss about it except it's the largest rocket in action. Now, both the Atlas 5 and the Delta 4 Heavy are going to be overtaken by their own replacement. The Atlas and the Delta family of rockets are finally coming to an end in the mid 2020s, by 2024 or 2025. The Delta 4 Heavy is the last member of the Delta family, which is scheduled to be retired by 2024. So yeah, as of now, we aren't expecting anything much from this rocket. Nothing much from Delta 4 Heavy. But we do expect from the absolute beast. Now the Delta 4 Heavy has two common boosters with the single first stage and the second stage. Now it's also powered by three RD-180 engines, one on the first stage and two on each side boosters. Okay, so now it's time to talk about something much more sincere, and that's this. This is the Vulcan Centaur. The Vulcan Centaur is a heavy lift launch vehicle, and it is currently under development. But this is an absolute beast, literally, because Vulcan is expected to take flight as early as 2022, just next year. Now, why it's so special is that it now, just like the Atlas V, it has several versions with the PJ. Now, the first launch is expected to be of the Pergerine lander, followed by the uh, the Dream Chaser. Now, the Dream Chaser is expected to launch next year, so we will be seeing a lot of action with Vulcan next year with the first orbital flight, the launch of Dream Chaser. The thing is, the Atlas V, Vulcan Centaur's first stage, is actually expected to be reusable. Now, this reusability. Now, I don't know when this will be reused, but we don't. As of now, we don't know when it will be. I don't know what the Vulcan Centaur heavy though. Seriously. Anyways, continuing on, we are moving on from ULA to now we are going to NASA's SLS. Yup. So yeah, our next one is the SLS, Space Launch System. Its name is literally Space Launch System. Now you would have probably heard of the Saturn V with launched the Apollo mission back in the 1960s, and now it's time to go back to the moon with this thing. Yeah, this thing will transport humans to the moon from as early as 2023. So stay tuned to that. Now the SLS is still under development, so we expect to see a launch in about maybe in 2022. Now the SLS is currently fully stacked, and let's see if we make to the launch in 2022. Now leaving this one, let's go to Rocket Lab with the famous Electron rocket. Electron rocket. Now we do have a number of American vehicles because we will be going by country. First the Americans, then the Russians. The Electron is actually a three stage. It's actually a three-stage to orbit vehicle with three stages in total. Now these three. Now we've already discussed about Electron in one of my other videos. So we do expect Electron. Now Electron has been recovered three times so far, but in 2022 we expect to see it being captured by helicopter, which we had waited for several days, like literally, because we had waited it for several years, almost several months since this announcement in 2018. Now 2021, as of December 2021, the first helicopter recovery mission will launch in the first half of 2022. So this is all that I know about the Electron milestones that are scheduled to take place in 2022. And oh yeah, we also have the launch of Capstone, which will be the first time that Rocket Lab is launching an interplanetary mission. Yeah. So that's it with it. But now let's go to the absolute beast of Rocket Lab, just like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and NASA. These guys also have a 40-meter long vehicle. Now Electron is only 17 meters, while this thing is 40 meters. Now yeah, this is actually a medium lift. Look at. Now the past four rockets, all we have discussed, are scheduled to undertake the first flights in 2022. So here's the Neutron. Hey, load Neutron. Here it is. This isn't the actual neutron though, because its design has been entirely changed. I hope there are some of them of the new neutron. None of them? Bruh, are you serious? Bruh. Bruh. Okay, anyways, Neutron is a two-stage to orbit medium lift launch vehicle which will be overtaking Electron. Now, it was only announced this year, so we expect its first flight in 2024. The engine, the Archimedes engine, will be igniting for the first time in 2022. So keep your fingers crossed. And also, other than that, Neutron its fairing won't separate. Instead, they will be returning to Earth with the first stage. Now our next rocket is the now our final American launch vehicle is the Launcher One. Okay, the Launcher One is actually a really special launch vehicle. Not because it's a small lift launch vehicle. It's a two-stage orbit launch vehicle, but not at all because it's literally launching from an aeroplane. Yeah, here's the Boeing 747, which I've discussed in my previous videos, and here is the Launcher One spacecraft. So this is I know this is crazy, but it's not the first rocket because there are also Pegasus, which has been flying for many years now. So this one only went orbital this year. It made it two successful orbital flights in 2021. Now we expect more in 2022 with the first and with the first mission being on January 12th. Now the so we do not expect much from this thing. Now moving on to Russia. Now let's go to directly to search the Soyuz achievements in 2021. So we only discussed about two rockets in Russia, so the Soyuz and the Proton vehicle. Okay, let's see this. Okay, so let's see this thing directly now, right? Oh, also, a thing I could never forget about Atlas 5. The Perseverance rover landed, and I completely forgot about the Perseverance rover. Sorry, Perseverance. And also, Ingenuity also made its first flight. Yeah. Okay, now let's go to this one. What the? Oh my god. We also forgot about the Firefly Alpha thingy, which was another one. Now, as you might expect, there are a lot. Wait, SLV? Oh yeah, there are a lot of them. I keep forgetting. Firefly had its maiden flight, but it did fail on its first launch. It did fail on its first launch, but still it is expected to take flight in 20. It will take flight in 2022. Hopefully we'll take flight in 2022 again. Now coming to Russia, we didn't see much from this guy because literally there were as you can see there were 22 launches. Now the Soyuz is a part of the R7 rocket family, and with 22 launches, it had 22 launches and 22 successes. So yeah, on none of them have been failures. Now Soyuz, we do expect much from Soyuz with more crewed flights and by now and until now, the Soyuz was the only crewed flight, only one that was taking the only one that was taking humans to the ISS and back. Now, but in 2020 that changed when the Crew Dragon came, and will change even more when hopefully the Boeing Starliner will launch in 2022. Now, with Soyuz, now the Soyuz, now we don't have to much talk about the Soyuz. Now, we also have the Proton. The Proton thingy was actually a lot, in literally the Proton had one really amazing flight with it launched two satellites and the mission lasted 18 hours. That's over three quarters of the entire day. So yeah, it actually lasted more than 18 hours though. So Proton did that, but it's usual. It's actually usual. Now Proton is now we don't expect much from Proton either in 2021 because oh yeah, and I forgot another American vehicle because as you can see there is a lot. Now and that's the Astra, which as I told that day, it did reach orbit. Astra did reach orbit, so that was the most major milestone. We also expect the first launch from Cape Canaveral for Astra in 2022. Now coming back to Russia, we also have the final family called the Angara. The Angara A5. The Angara A. Oh man, I forgot the Minotaur as well now. Bruh. Okay. Okay, anyways, coming back to the Angara. Angara A5 did launch a dummy satellite just hours before making this video. And it was a success, according to me, as far as I know, it was a success. Another American vehicle called Antares also launched. This is a mission that launches resupply missions to the ISS. It also launched a couple of times during 2021. Oh my god. Now 2021 was just you can just appreciate how much 2021 was eventful this time. Because literally you can see so many launches. Now Russia has only these three vehicles in its thing. Oh yeah, and also Russia has the universal rocket. Oh, oh, I never knew this. I never knew this. You were, I believe the universal rocket was a part of the proton thing, so I never knew it. Anyways, now moving on to China, we also expect to see a lot more action from China. Starting off with the Long March 3B. Wait, what? What's this? Okay. Anyway, starting off with the first mission of Long March 3, Long March 5. The Long March 5 is a heavy lift launch vehicle. Also, a little bit about the Soyuz. And the Soyuz is a three-stage to orbit vehicle which launches cruise to the ISS. It's a medium lift launch vehicle. And then we have the Proton is also a three-stage to orbit vehicle, a medium lift launcher. Angara A5, however, is a heavy lift launch vehicle, which is really a thing. Now continuing on with Long March 5, the Long March 5 was actually expected to take its first flight. It did fail several times. Now just like the Atos and Delta, I will be making an evolution of the R7 and even this one. So hopefully watch out for that. Now 2021 was a pretty eventful year for the Long March 5. It launched China's first modular space station, the Tianhe. The Tianhe was lifted off in May 2021. The Tianhe was successful in launch. Now in 2022, we expect Long March 5 to launch the remaining two modules of the space station. We also